Catan World Championship. My name's Alex Yeager with Mayfair Games, and I am kneeling on the actual board that the players this afternoon, Reiner, Herbert, Justinus, and TY, are going to be playing on to determine the winner of this trophy, the Gold Sun, and the player who will walk away this afternoon with the title of the best Catan player in the world as of 2012. Again, my name is Alex Yeager, and we are here at historic Normandy Farms, here outside Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we've got Bob and Angus. This thing is a big show. We're so looking forward to bringing you all of the action, all of the play from the final round of the 2012 Catan World Championships. Now, this board is not the only board that's going to be going on. We certainly have the regular size board in play here, but this is simply going to be a shadow board. This is an opportunity for the friends, the guests that we have here this afternoon at the World Championships to keep track of the action if, of course, that big board isn't big enough for you to be able to see what's going on. I'm here with Bill Wertelman, also from Mayfair Games, and he's going to be our co-host, as he's been all weekend long, for our final round, and we've got great players coming in.
We've narrowed the field down from 42 to 4. There's one game, winner take all, for the Catan World Championship.
Indeed. So they're going to be coming in here in just a moment. So what we'd like to do is we're going to go ahead and get back in our position. We'd give you a chance to take a look at that board and really take in just how large that is. That thing is it looks like about an 8 or 9 foot by 9 foot map of a Catan board. Of course, the pieces that are on there are oversized wooden pieces. There are wooden discs on there, so actually we can reuse this carpet again with a little different board layout. But take in that spectacle over there while we get into position, and in the moment we'll let the players in. They're going to get their first look at this board, so it'll be fun to see their reactions, and we'll be able to start the game in just a few moments. So, in the meantime, as we get into position, let's talk about exactly what's going to be happening this afternoon. We have 4 players that are going to be playing this afternoon. The top seeded person throughout the entire tournament has been Reiner. I forget Reiner's last name. That's horrible. But anyway, Reiner from Germany is our top-seeded player. And so what that means for purposes of this tournament is he is going to be able to choose the player position that he gets to go. He gets to start the game with. So after looking at this board, he can decide if he would like to be the first player, the player who goes first, puts the first settlement on the board, or second, or third, or fourth. So it's a tremendous. It's an advantage to you to having been the top seed throughout the first day of the tournament in order to be able to have this as an advantage going into the final round.
Yes, it is an advantage, but it's not a guarantee. In our quarterfinals, we had people, the top seeds chose first position, second position, and third position. And the winners of those started in the first position, the second position, the third position, and the fourth position. So whereas it is an advantage, it's not necessarily a guarantee of success.
Right. So Reiner Bila is going to be choosing first position on this, or will be choosing his position first on this board. Going second will be Herbert Chager from Austria. And Herbert won his board, of course, during the semifinals. So he'll be choosing second on this board. Choosing third will be Chi Wai from Hong Kong, and fourth, Justinus Norika, who was 14th seed going into the afternoon. So let's take a look as the contestants enter the room. So, our 4 contestants getting their first look here at the board and what we're going to be playing on. So that's your live board. That's going to be the game. That is going to be the board that they are playing on. And so as they begin to take their first looks at that, we'll get the audience in place here and have a chance to take a look as well at what's going on.
As we have the audience finally in right now, the players are going to take a few minutes to analyze the board and formalize their strategy. And of course, Reiner is going to be the first one to decide in what position that he actually wants to start this game. So, and everybody else's decision down on the seating order will be decided from there.
Correct. So Justinus is the only one right now that will not have a choice in the matter, depending on where Reiner, Herbert, and Chi Wai decide to go. Justinus will obviously have the remaining position of the 4. So So again, while people are getting set up in here, let's go ahead and take a look at the board that we're going to be playing on. So we'll show you the graphic here in a moment of what the board is. It's, again, similar to the semifinals board. It's a pretty balanced board. There's nothing that really that stands out. The desert's going to be off to the edge, so that keeps all the competition and all the head-to-head battles for longest road and whatnot right into the center, the heart of the board.
And some of the better number combinations are actually closer to the center of the board, which gives the players a little bit of a quandary whether they want to go for the better numbers, but then it becomes more difficult to go to the outside of the board to try to grab one of those better trade boards.
Right, so do you get the rich spots on the inside for your resources and then trying to quickly build out to the harbors, or do you perhaps sacrifice a little bit of that resource production in order to get out to those harbors or position yourself that much better for the harbors themselves?
And we might find ourselves with a little bit of shortage of grain in this game depending on how the numbers are rolled. The numbers do favor the other four commodities. Grain, not that much less than the others, but still we may notice a grain shortage in this game.
So, as we're looking at the board here, let's go ahead and take a quick look at what the players are going to be thinking about in their heads, which are just how likely, how good are those intersections that they're looking at. So, again, when you're a player, you're very much would like to know the best and worst spots. So if we look at the board, you can see, just like we talked about, the best spots on the board are all clustered in the center of the board, and the worst spots are all the outside edges. So it's going to provide just a lot of very good spots that you're going to be able to produce resources on, and but of course they're all going to be in the center. They're going to all cluster those people right down the middle. So
and they're going to be fighting each other for their second settlements as well. As
Exactly.
The longest road will definitely be a challenge. It could potentially be a challenge here.
And on a board like this, the other thing you have to think about during your setup is there's the friendly way and there's the nasty way to set your settlements, in the sense that if you want to be nice to people, you'll usually set your settlements up so that you can get 3 around a hex. So you have one, everyone will be two sides away, and you get 3 around the hex. If you want to be mean, if you want to do that denial strategy, you're going to put your settlement directly across the hex from your opponent, so you can only get 2 resources on a given hex.
Yeah,
so
the distance rule does keep you from building a settlement or a city immediately next to somebody else's settled or city. So yes, that's very important, whether you build on the opposite side of a hex or just only 2 spaces away.
So right now, of course, players are going to be taking a look at this board, trying to determine first which order they want to play in, and then second where that order is going to allow them to place a settlement down. And that's the key. Is it's, if you say, well, I'd like to go first, of course, because I'm going to get the best spot on the board, you also then have to go through the progression of where do you think everyone else is going to go and what you might be left with at the end of that process, which means it maybe is that much more attractive for you to take second or third, where your choices are going to be compressed. It's going to be a little tighter, but they're also going to perhaps be better placements overall than the first and the last placement would allow.
Yeah, if you are placing first, yes, you'll have your choice, but you'll also have the 8th choice of location to start the game, of which some players will say, well, I'd rather not have that. There's enough wealth of spots so that I can actually go second, third, or possibly even fourth. Take the 2 placements as 4th and 5th in a row and be very happy with my starting setup.
So of course, we thank everybody for tuning in on live stream. We're going to be watching your comments as the game goes on, and we'll also be trying to answer as many of those questions as we can. What I'm going to do is we've got a question, of course, of whether or not what the ports are going around on the board. So what we'll try and do is give you a quick tour of those ports at the moment. So as you're going to be looking at the board, ideally at some point here we can quickly get I know we're looking right now at the overall board and at the players looking at the board, but what we'd like to do is try and get a graphic of the board up again, and we'll take you on a tour. Basically it'll be a 12 o'clock around look at exactly what hexes or what the harbors are on the hexes. So actually what we'll do is we'll start the desert, and we're going to go clockwise around the